Square Enix, right. You hear that name, you think JRPGs. Big, epic, sprawling RPGs. So what in the world are they doing, turning their attention to, wait for it, Power Wash Simulator?
It's honestly a little wild when you think about it.
It really is. I mean, it seems like they're gearing up for a whole new adventure, but they just sold off a bunch of studios that weren't even making JRPGs.
Yeah, it is kind of strange, right? It's like deciding to bake a cake, but then you give away your mixer and your oven.
Exactly. So in this deep dive, we're going to try to figure this whole thing out, right? Like, why is Square Enix making this move? What does it mean for gamers who are, maybe looking beyond the whole Final Fantasy Dragon Quest scene?
Absolutely. So to really wrap our heads around this, we kind of need to rewind a bit back to May of 2022. Remember when Square Enix sold off Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, all to Embracer Group?
Big move, for sure.
Huge. And these weren't small fry studios either. This is Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Legacy of Kain. These franchises have some serious fans.
Yeah, and at the time, if I remember correctly, didn't they say it was about streamlining, focusing on their core IPs, and what was the other stuff? Investing in blockchain, AI, the cloud.
The buzzword overload.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And it left a lot of us wondering, where does this leave, the games we actually want to play?
Yeah, like what is Square Enix even trying to be in the gaming world these days?
And that's what makes their more recent statements kind of mind-blowing.
You are not kidding.
So we've got excerpts here from Square Enix's November 2023 financial briefing, and some of the things President Takashi Kiryu said are, well, let's just say they're interesting.
Interesting is putting it mildly.
Okay, so get this. Kiryu comes right out and says it, point blank, that Square Enix has become way too reliant on, quote, certain gameplay styles or genres, end quote.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not. And he even goes on to say that gamers' tastes are changing. They're way more diverse now.
And it's about time somebody over there noticed. The gaming world is a huge GE place.
For real. But here's the real kicker, and I don't think anyone saw this coming. Kiryu actually uses Power Wash Simulator as an example of, get this, unexpected success.
Power Wash Simulator.
I know, right? Almost makes you wonder if they're sitting back there thinking, did we make a mistake?
Or maybe, just maybe, there's a method to all of this.
You've got a point. But we're going to have to dig a little deeper to figure out what they're really up to.
Well, to try and understand all this, maybe we need to, zoom out a bit, right? Look at the bigger picture of what's been going on in the gaming world. We've seen this huge surge in indie games, right, over the past, 10 years.
Totally. And I think it's way more than just those big breakout hits everyone's talking about,
For sure.
There's this whole world of smaller games finding their people, and they're actually making money.
Exactly. It's a whole different model. Stardew Valley.
Such a good game.
Total classic, right?
Yes.
That's the perfect example of those long-tail success stories. They're super community-driven. They do a great job with content updates, and they just keep going, It's totally different from, the way Square Enix usually does things with their big blockbuster releases.
And those content updates, that's the whole live service thing, right?
Yep. Games that never really end, always evolving.
Which, I guess when you think about it, that could be really appealing to a company like Square Enix, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think of it like this. They usually drop a huge game. It's a big deal. Everyone freaks out. And then, they move on to the next big thing. It's a cycle, right?
Right.
But those live service games, those keep people engaged. They're always offering something new, new challenges, new stories. And that equals money, my friend. Steady, predictable income. Can't really argue with that from a business perspective, can you?
So it's less about chasing the next billion-dollar thing and more about building a portfolio, right? A mix of the huge stuff and some smaller, steadier wins.
It's looking that way, yeah. But as for whether that means they're kicking themselves over those studios they let go, who knows?
It's true. It's not like they're hurting for ideas, right? There's got tons of those big franchises they could lean on. Maybe this is more about them being smart, Focus on those amazing JRPGs, the stuff they're known for, but then on the side, they can play around with some new things, new IPs, different genres, stuff they build themselves.
Could be. And by owning those new IPs, right, they're totally in control. Creative decisions, spin-offs, all the money, it's all theirs.
Right, but seriously, what does this whole thing mean for us, the players? What are we going to see from Square Enix?
That's the real question, isn't it? It could be huge. I mean, imagine a totally different side of Square Enix, right? Games that break all their own rules and just try something new.
Okay, hear me out on this. What if they did, a Square Enix-style farming sim, but it's set in, like, the Final Fantasy world.
Okay, I'm listening.
Or, like, a dark, gritty detective game, but it's in Midgar.
Okay, now you're talking to me. I mean, obviously, we're just messing around here. But the possibilities are pretty wild when you think about it.
They really are. But speaking of wild possibilities, what does this all mean for those big franchises Square Enix already has? Like Final Fantasy?
Million gill question right there.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they haven't said it outright, it kind of sounds like they know things need to change, you know. If they want those big franchises to really last, they can't just keep doing the same old, same old. Even with something like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. Those formulas might not work forever in this crazy gaming world.
It's wild, right? They built their name on these huge, sprawling adventures, and now it's like they're saying, maybe saving the world can wait, you know? There are other stories to tell.
It's definitely a gamble.
Huge gamble.
And let's be real, trying to recapture the magic of those old franchises, especially now that they've sold off some of the teams that made them, that's a tough ask, even without thinking about all the pressure from fans and, let's be honest, investors breathing down their necks.
Oh, for sure. There's always pressure. But hey, maybe that's the silver lining here, you know?
How so?
Well, just think about it for a second. If they're willing to go smaller, try new things, mess around with different genres, who's to say they don't accidentally stumble onto the next Final Fantasy?
I mean, it's not impossible. Look at Minecraft, right?
Or Fortnite.
Even Power Wash Simulator in its own way. Those games, they didn't start out as these massive, meticulously planned franchises.
They just kind of blew up.
Exactly. They found an audience, they clicked, and then boom, gaming phenomenon.
It's like they say, sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, am I right? Although hopefully no chocobos were harmed in the making of this new strategy.
We can only hope. But really, when you get down to it, it's all a big experiment. Will it work? Who knows? But it'll be interesting to watch, that's for sure.
I'm kind of excited to see what they come up with. So what do you think? Will Square Enix find a way to bring back the magic of those franchises they let go? Or is this the start of something totally new for them?
I don't know, honestly. It really feels like they're at a turning point, though. One thing's for sure. In the gaming world, you can't just stand still. You have to adapt. You have to be willing to try new things, or you get left behind.
And that's the truth. Well, there you have it. Square Enix, a company known for its epic adventures, taking a page from the indie playbook. Will it pay off? Will we see a whole new wave of weird and wonderful games from the JRPG giant? Only time will tell. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. It's been a wild ride, and we can't wait to see what happens next. Catch you all next time.